Syrian Arab Army units eliminate terrorist gatherings in Jobar in Damascus and Aleppo, targeting their hideouts in Al-Qunaytra also. Iran calls upon some regional states that back terrorism to stop it and join Russian-Chinese maneuvers against terrorism. And in response to the new Western sanctions, Russia is preparing to close its airspace. And the Education Minister is briefed on the second phase of the tests of Scientific Experimental Olympics. Good afternoon, this is News in English from the Syrian Arab Television in Damascus. Prime Minister Al-Halaqi said that the priorities of the new government is restoring security and stability to all of Syria through combating terrorism, in addition to carrying out reconstruction work and comprehensive development. In an interview given to Syrian television, Prime Minister Al-Halaqi said that the government will work on supporting the public sector in addition to the agricultural and industrial sectors and micro and medium projects. He added that fighting corruption, continuing administrative reform and enhancing the principle of administrative decentralization will also be on the top of the priorities for the government. Al-Halaqi said that the ministers are required to enhance the trust between citizens and the institutions by joint work and visions, which will lead to a coherent society that participates in making decisions, as the ministries are also demanded to have a continuous contact with the popular, social, administrational and unions activities to draw a transparent policy for the coming stage. The Premier also welcomed constructive criticism to level up with services and the governmental work. Deputy Prime Minister, Foreign and Expatriates Minister Al-Moallem met today with head of the joint mission of the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons and the United Nations Secretary Kaag and the accompanying delegation. The meeting came as part of Kaag's final visit to Syria, since the joint mission that deals with eliminating the chemical weapons in Syria is winding up its work that will be concluded by the end of September. Talks during the meeting touched upon the achievements made in terms of Syria implementing its obligations under the Chemical Weapons Convention, which Syria joined in September last year. Mr. Al-Moallem expressed his deep appreciation and thanks to Kaag for the efforts she and her team put to have the mission of the destruction of Syria's chemical weapons accomplished. For her part, Kaag said that she was pleased with the achievements made and voiced her gratitude for the Syrian government's constructive and fruitful cooperation which led to those achievements. She described the accomplishment of the mission as unprecedented achievement, which she said would not have succeeded without the Syrian authorities' full cooperation with the joint OPCW United Nations mission. In field developments and in Aleppo and its countryside, Syrian Arab Army units eliminated a number of terrorists near the electricity company in Al-Mansura and destroyed 3 cars with terrorists inside them in Sharba and Qalaqil in the countryside of the governorate. Army units also targeted terrorist dens in Al-Sheikh Khadr, Al-Halaq and several other neighborhoods, killing some of the terrorists, injuring others and destroying their criminal tools. In Damascus countryside, Syrian Arab Army units targeted terrorist gatherings in Al-Fusul al-Arba'a and the Side Street and in Khan al-Sheikh farms and western farms in Al-Husayniya, killing and injuring a number of them. Syrian Arab Army units achieved progress in Jobar neighborhood and destroyed terrorist hideouts in Ain Tarma Valley and in the surroundings of As-Suq al-Khairi after controlling more blocks in Jobar, killing the terrorists inside. Going to the south of the country in Quneitra countryside, Syrian Arab Army units have targeted terrorist dens and gatherings in Kamuna in the vicinity of the Scientific Research Center west of Tal Mash'a in Hussein village in Daraa countryside. Other army units have destroyed 2 dens used by terrorists and killed all the terrorists inside them, in addition to destroying 4 armored vehicles and in Khil town. 10 Iraqis, among them policemen, were killed and other 2 were wounded in a twin suicide attack in Ad-Dahwaliya, south of Tikrit city in Salahdin province. In a relevant context, Iraqi army has continued this military operation, killing scores of the terrorists in Al-Anbar province, west of the country, and detaining many others in Salahdin province. The British Daily Mail newspaper has disclosed in an article written by Amanda Williams that an FBI team has detained members of a terrorist network in Britain on charges of aiding the terrorist John who had beheaded the American journalist James Foley. Amanda added that the team had arrived in Britain last month and carried out investigations which showed that the network provided the killer John with money and helped him travel to Syria to join ISIS. Amanda pointed out that Johan is one of the 4 British jihadists who held hostages in Syria and call themselves the Beatles. Iranian President Hassan Rouhani has called upon some of the region's states that back the terrorist organizations to halt their support to these organizations. Meeting Denmark's Minister for Foreign Affairs Martin Lidegaard, Rouhani warned that such support would destabilize the region and the world at large. He went on to say that combating terrorism needed a serious and collective international will. For his part, Danish Minister for Foreign Affairs said that the West was fully aware of the dangers posed by the terrorist organization fighting in Iraq and Syria, adding that his country is determined to combat terrorism. Russian Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev has said that Moscow did not rule out the possibility of closing its airspace in retaliation to sanctions imposed on many of Russia's economic sectors. Medvedev added that Russia would retaliate by imposing restrictions in the domain of transportation if the Western countries impose sanctions on Russia in the energy domain and if further restrictions were to be imposed on Russia's financial sector. Medvedev warned that of what he called the war of sanctions that this war is threatening global security, showing that some sides tended to use force in international relations. Under the patronage of Mrs. Asma al-Assad, a graduation ceremony for the 3rd batch of students of the National Center for Excellence students yesterday was held at Damascus University Auditorium. Minister of Education Hassan al-Waz stressed that Syria is looking forward for a young generation that is equipped with skills, expertise and capabilities needed for development, innovation and excellence. The minister added that it has been 5 years since the center was opened. During that period of time, the students proved their excellence and that they deserved to be enrolled in it. Director of the National Center for Excellence said that the center constitutes an incubator for excellence and creation as it motivates students to reach high levels, indicating that the achievements that have been made so far would not have been possible without the great support and care of President Bashar al-Assad and the supervision of Mrs. Assad. He also praised the efforts exerted by the Ministries of Education, Higher Education, and the teaching staff members is fully performing their duties despite all difficulties and challenges facing them under the ongoing terrorist war in the country. In a related context, Minister of Education Haswan Al-Waz has made a tour at the Plastic and Applied Arts Education Institute in Damascus, where he was briefed on the tests of the second phase of the Experimental Scientific Olympics for the teachers of the secondary level in Damascus province and its countryside. Latakia, Tartus are also participating. It's noteworthy that that the Olympics are carried out by the National Commission for the Scientific Olympics in cooperation with the Ministry of Education. With this, we come to the end of our news for today. Thank you for watching. For more details about Syria and the region and to view this bulletin again, you can always visit our website in English, www.syriaonline.sy. Now the latest business and market news with Vani, but after a short break.